Hey everybody, it's Sam Jackson with Heartland Turf and Landscape, and we're in the fall season here. Temperatures are starting to cool off, and some of us may have a little bit of brown spots in our lawn from various stresses during the summer. You know, whether it's maybe you had a little bit of fungus, or there was just some dry patches that died during the really hot dry season. Now the fall is the time that you want to go ahead and do the repairs rather than waiting until next spring. It's always best to plant in our area, in the Kansas City metro area, in the fall. That way when we get to the next hot dry summer, you've got a much more mature plant and root system that can tolerate that hot dry summer. If you plant in the spring, most likely when we hit July and August and temperatures are really hot, that new grass won't have a deep enough root system and it won't make it through the summer. So plant your grass seed in the fall. So a couple of things, reminders when you're selecting your grass seed. In our area, commonly tall fescue and bluegrass are what most residential lawns are made up of. When you're choosing your seed, you want to look at three different things that are the most important parts of a good quality seed. The first thing is the germination rate. The seed that we use has a 90% germination rate. That's lab tested. So you can be assured that like majority of the seed that you're spreading on the lawn is actually going to sprout. The two other things, it should also have a crop seed percentage and a weed seed percentage listed, and both of those need to be 0%. You obviously do not want any other weeds or other bycrops showing up in your lawn when your grass is sprouting, because then it's just going to be a problem you'll have to deal with later. So check that when you're buying your seed. We generally use a mix of 3 different types of fescues for our lawn seeding service. The reason we recommend doing a seed blend is because most varieties of different diseases that can affect your lawn, such as bacterial, viral, fungal diseases, many of them are gonna attack a specific variety of grass. So if you use a blend of varieties, if you have a problem with one of those diseases, most likely you're not going to lose the whole lawn to it. It may just affect one of the varieties that is in your lawn. So it gives you an inherent disease resistance when you do a variety of fescues. We also do a little bit of we have one mix that we mix in about 10% bluegrass seed that we use that works a little bit better if you have shady conditions. Bluegrass can tolerate shade a little bit better than fescue can. So that's the other thing to keep in mind, is if you've got a shady condition, you can look for a mix of seed that's got fescue and then a 10 to 20% mix of a couple different types of bluegrasses as well. So anyway, I'm going to turn the camera around here and just show you. I got a generally healthy lawn, but there was a little spot right up here along the sidewalk that died out and turned brown, and that in the heat of the summer and never came back. So something like this, it's hard to say what caused that little patch to die out. I would guess, being this close to a sidewalk, there's some gravel that still remained from construction, and this whole area just doesn't hold moisture real well. We see this commonly along driveways and sidewalks, and that's usually the culprit, but it could have been anything. Anyway, so what I like to do to repair a little patch like this is get yourself one of these handy dandy garden weasel tools. There's all kinds of different brands, but $15 to $20 at your local big box store or garden store. It's basically just got a whole bunch of little tines to help break up the surface of the soil. You could also use like a hard tined rake for this. So got my bucket of seed here, and generally what I do is I'll work the whole area with this tool, break up the surface, sprinkle my seed on here, and very lightly. You don't need to pound the whole entire area. I would say for this whole patch right here, maybe 3 handfuls of grass spread out over this area. So yeah, work the ground with your tool to kind of break up the surface, get your seed on the area, and then work it in one more time with the tool after you spread the seed. because the most important thing is you want that seed to get down to the surface of the soil and just below the surface, about a ½ inch to an inch below the surface of the soil. So that's why you really want to work it in. If you just toss some seed on the top of your lawn here, it's not going to sprout. So once you've got that all planted, it's time to water. You want to keep this damp for the first 10 to 14 days while it's sprouting. So we recommend watering 3 times a day for about 5 to 10 minutes. If the whole point is if it dries out at any point in the process, it'll most likely, especially if it's already sprouted and it goes a day with being completely dry, that little seedling with that little tiny minuscule root will dry up and die, and then it doesn't come back. So once you've started the process, you need to keep it damp. It doesn't have to be soaking wet, just damp, like a damp paper towel. And keep it damp for the first, we recommend 2 weeks, and then at that point the grass should be about an inch tall, and then it should be able to tolerate once a day watering. But you still got to make sure that you're keeping all that soil really damp, because it's got a really shallow root, and it's doing all it can to survive and drink up as much moisture as it can. So water once a week for the rest of the season, and then after that you should be good to return to normal watering in the spring, and it'll develop into a mature lawn and be beautiful, and you should be good to go at that point. I'm going to make a more detailed video about our watering instructions, so keep an eye out for that. Thanks for watching. Bye.